right, good evening, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. It's No Accountability Monday. I'm joking. So, we have a pregnant wife that does nothing but dance and drink all day and almost lost a baby. And at the end of that, she still blamed her husband. Interesting. Let's jump into the story. Shout out to All Asian Dilemmas. This is a short story, but we're going to review it. Let's go.
这是州长，我今天率领部族是干，干
You feel like he gonna die. But why? What's the point of all this? Why are you Woo!
Zheng Mi, a 25-year-old actress and model from Hunan, had all
That's the problem right there. She's in the industry, an industry girl. It doesn't matter if it's adult industry or entertainment industry. There will be a lot of problems.
always lived a glamorous professional life with a solid income. But recently, her reality changed drastically. 7 months pregnant and with no source of income, she began suffering from bleeding and had to be urgently hospitalized to protect the pregnancy. When she arrived at the hospital, Zheng Mi was visibly weak. Her blood-stained sheets alarmed the doctors and nurses. One of them,
This is my type of environment right here because I work in healthcare, I work in intensive care. So I see a lot of these cases to where they'll bring a woman, a young woman usually, to our intensive care unit because they were in labor and delivery and they couldn't stop the bleeding. So they bring the lady to us. We just had a case like this about maybe last week, maybe 2 weeks ago. She was fine speaking to us coming in. But then she started bleeding out fast. So I had to run to the lab, get some blood. So it just becomes a mess sometimes, you know? But yeah.
noticing the severity of the situation, warned that the bleeding was intense, and considering how far along she was, both her life and the baby's were at serious risk. With a trembling voice and hollow eyes, Zheng Mi broke down in front of reporters. She said she didn't know what to do anymore. Her husband's family, she claimed, didn't care and hadn't given her a single cent to help. She explained that she had to kneel and beg her mother-in-law several times until she finally received 5,000 yuan to pay for the hospital. In the hospital room, pale and exhausted, she recalled calling her husband Liu Ji in desperation 3 days earlier, pleading for help due to the bleeding.
I mean, not only did she not have any money, but when you don't have any money and you have a medical emergency, you're going to be thousands in debt. Thousands. I mean, up to 6-figure type debt. Yeah. Especially, well, here on the West Coast. I don't know how the medical thing works there, but over here in America, that's the #1 way to get in debt. Is Medicare.
But instead of helping, he vanished.
Ooh.
With no other options, she and her mother went to his mother's house. After much pleading and tears shed on her knees, they were finally given the money needed for her treatment. Since then, Zheng Mi has not held back her criticisms of both her husband and mother-in-law. But is that really the full story? Her mother-in-law, Mrs. Li, offered a different version. She strongly denied abandoning Zheng and said that she and her son had been caring for her attentively since the hospitalization. Even so, she admitted that her son had indeed made many mistakes. When the reporter found Liu Ji in the hospital hallway, he looked visibly nervous. He denied all of his wife's accusations. According to him, he had never abandoned Zheng and had been there every day, doing his best to help. He claimed she was unreasonable, demanding, and difficult to deal with. When asked about the money for the hospital, Liu gave vague answers. He didn't confirm nor deny that Zheng had to beg for it. Instead, he suggested they go to the Dongshan police station to clear things up. As soon as he learned that his wife could be discharged, he rushed to handle the paperwork and took her home. But peace was nowhere to be found. Once home, the couple was constantly at each other's throats. Even with the baby nearly due and the marriage just a few months old, Zheng Mi asked for a divorce.
In months. That sounds like a celebrity marriage. These celebrities don't stay long at all. She's in the industry, so it's common for them to get married and then get divorced 2 months later.
She justified her decision by saying her husband was lazy, had no steady job, and
Oh.
that she had been covering all the household expenses. She claimed she had already spent around 200,000 yuan, combining the dowry from her family and her own savings. Faced with these accusations, Liu remained silent.
So basically, she married a pookie. That's what it sounds like. She married a bum. She went broke for this guy. That's why she's filing a divorce. But how? Just in 2 months?
Zheng explained that right after the wedding, Liu had promised to work, but quit after less than a week. Not only did he not earn money, he came back in debt. And when she needed him the most, during a medical crisis in her pregnancy, he simply disappeared. She even revealed a shocking episode. Liu had pretended to be sick, biting his own lip to spit blood and trick his mother into giving him money. That money, she said, he later spent on himself. Mrs. Li confirmed this story and that it wasn't the first time he had.
She's cute. All right. And see, that's usually, I guess that's the beauty standard in China. The more oval face. Because you see more round-faced Chinese people. Excuse the noise, big-ass truck in the way.
Had done something like that. Cornered by both his wife and mother, Liu snapped. He slammed the door, shouted at Zheng from a distance, then stormed back into the apartment, furious. Moments later, in the hallway, he started throwing accusations. He claimed that since their wedding, Zheng had brought strange men home,
Ooh.
and that they frequently fought over it. He even showed photos of her, visibly pregnant, wearing provocative clothes at bars and clubs, something he couldn't accept. Liu said he didn't believe her profession was respectable, though he avoided going into detail.
It sounded like she was selling box. That's what it sounded like. And for those of you to the, what was that? Is it boomers? Yeah. After Gen X and the boomers, selling box means basically selling pussy. And I guess pregnant women do that too, but all right.
Explained that their marriage and pregnancy happened within just 3 months, without an emotional foundation. Only later did he learn she had been previously married. The apartment they lived in was a gift from her ex-husband.
Whoa.
He also revealed that Zheng had left home at 13, cut ties with her father, and built a career as an actress and model. And while
Toxic. Talk about being toxic, you guys. Yeah. So basically, her life's been a shit show ever since she was a teenager. Yeah.
she made good money, it left him feeling emasculated.
Ooh.
The revealing clothes she wore for work only worsened his discomfort. He admitted to living off her money, but denied spending the full 200,000 yuan. Even
On what? He spent $200,000 on himself. I mean, where's the sports car? Where's the hidden apartment? Where's the luxury apartment, the high rise? Where's the whole, I don't know.
Even with all their issues, he said he didn't want a divorce because of the baby. Now calmer, Zheng Mi showed reporters her photo albums. She proudly said she began working at 18, and after 7 years of dedication, she had earned a solid reputation. Her monthly income ranged from 20,000 to 80,000 yuan. She said she had never asked whether her husband or mother-in-law supported her career. She just assumed they did. Regarding the men she had brought home, she said they were employees of her company, and that her mother-in-law had been present both times. As for the bars, she explained that she only went out after a fight with her husband and needed a way to clear her head. The reporters urged her to think about the baby and avoid making impulsive decisions. But just a few days later, she was hospitalized again for another episode of bleeding. During this second stay, a roommate told reporters that Zheng was difficult, often loud and aggressive, and treated her mother-in-law like a maid. Despite the mistreatment, the mother-in-law never retaliated. Why did she tolerate all of it? Mrs. Li said her son had already failed in 2 marriages, and she still hoped the third one could work.
I mean, he's doing something right if he's been married multiple times and don't have any money and can't hold his end of the deal. Jeez. So he should be at home drinking too. He ain't doing nothing else.
But her daughter-in-law's career caused constant suspicion and tension. Liu Ji, meanwhile, spoke of his previous marriages with a dismissive tone, as if none of it really mattered to him. The reporters pressed him to take responsibility for his family. At that moment, Zheng Mi's mother arrived at the hospital. Listening to her daughter cry, she comforted her and admitted that perhaps she had failed in raising her, which now reflected in her troubled marriage. Still, she believed that if her son-in-law changed, there might be hope for the relationship.
Well, it don't sound like there was much cheating going on, but as far as her career, when these women get married to regular guys, which typically he was average, probably below average, being that he couldn't hold up his end of the deal in the household, she was doing everything. So not only was she doing everything, she was paying for everything too. So twice the work, that, and she's pregnant. And what is he doing? Crazy, right? So were the other women he was married to doing the same thing? They say 3 times a charm, but damn. There's not much to say to that. And far as her being in that field, most people aren't going to accept of it. Maybe if both of them were both actors, maybe that would have worked a little better if they were both in the industry. But a lot of times, most families aren't going to accept that.
To try and mediate, the reporters called in Zhou Meihong, a professional counselor. She pointed out that Liu's biggest failure was never stepping up as a provider. But she also highlighted Zheng's flaws. Her difficult personality and the nature of her job made communication between the two nearly impossible. With the baby about to be born, Zhu encouraged Zheng to give her husband one more chance. Seeing signs of regret in Liu and thinking about the baby's future, Zheng agreed to negotiate. They drew up an agreement. Liu would find a job and send her 1,000 yuan a month for 3 months. In return, she would focus on her pregnancy and manage her emotions. It wasn't a happy ending, but perhaps a new beginning. Both had acknowledged their mistakes. Now it remains to be seen whether they can keep their promises and give their child a stable home. What do you think about this marriage? Leave your opinion in the comments.
It was toxic. It was over before it started. That's what I think about the marriage. I mean, it's not too late being that the divorce isn't finalized, but I mean, how much more would you put up with? Maybe if he holds up his end of the deal, maybe things will be okay, but it's just a hot mess at the end of the day. It's a lot of tension between the in-laws. And just imagine, I'm assuming they don't all live together, but that'll be even worse. But she's beating on her own mother. That's crazy. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Anyways, Kylie Vale. Hope you enjoyed this clip. Very interesting. And I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.